What vendors can you use to build a business credit portfolio? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about during today's training. We're going to talk about more about building an exceptional business credit profile, the kind of business credit profile that can help your business fund itself without personal guarantees, without personal credit checks, even if you can't qualify for other kind of financing. And we're also going to be talking about 4 specific vendors right now, today, July of 2021, that are working well for our clients and that could work well for you to help you get your business credit profile and scores off the ground. We got a lot to cover, so let's dive in. Before we get too far, though, I want to remind you of our July 19th live event, the Funding 30 Challenge. Look, it's real simple. If you want to get money for your business, this is the event to be at. It's 100% all right, so let me fix I've got some audio issues. So I'm going to switch my audio. My audio quality is probably not going to be as good as it was, but I think I'm okay now. So we get together like an impromptu group of entrepreneurs, thousands of entrepreneurs, and we all work together to help you get funding. So we bring in 20 of the world's top funding experts, financial guys. We talk about grants. We have angel investors there, venture capitalists, actually there to invest in businesses, as well as all types of sources that offer loans and credit lines that are able to help you as well. And during this week, you learn about all the funding programs and walk away with at least 3 that will work for your business. So business credit building, grants, angel investing, venture capital, all sources of money in one place directly from the sources. You can even talk to the sources during the actual event and get funding during the actual live event. So make sure you go to funding30challenge.com. It's 100% free. It's worth about $1,000 to get in, but you can get in right now at $0 cost. It's funding30challenge.com. Okay. So when we talked last week about a business credit building portfolio, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about building a business credit portfolio. We also talked about what a business credit portfolio is. We talked about different kinds of business credit, getting it without a personal guarantee, getting it with a personal guarantee, getting it without a credit check, getting it with a credit check. And we also talked about what you can use business credit for, saving money, being able to make even more cash flow, earning points and rewards on stuff that you're normally spending a lot on anyways now. But today, we're actually going to be talking about vendors. We're going to talk about 4 starter vendors that you can use to start building your business credit. Now, when we talk about these starter vendors, then we've got to talk about their use of building business credit, especially initial business credit. So you want to start typically building a credit profile with what are called starter vendors. Now, as we discussed last week when we talk about building a business credit portfolio, vendors really applies to anybody that can issue you credit to buy like their stuff. So Amazon's a vendor, Walmart's a vendor, because they can issue you a credit card to buy products and services that they sell. But we're talking about specifically about starter vendors. And these are ones that can help you start a business credit profile and score a proven way to do so. They also provide instant access to products, to services that you probably need to grow your business anyways. We've got vendors for our clients, that starter vendors that actually do website build outs. They do SEO services. They do marketing services. They do t-shirts and phones and all these other things that most business owners need anyways. So again, what's nice is that with vendor credit, you're able to get credit for the stuff you might pay cash for. Really helps when you're starting a business. You get 1-2 months to typically pay those bills. Plus, you're building a business credit profile and scored exactly the same time. And I'm going to have to switch mic quality. I'm having a mic issue today. So if you could just stick tight with me for a second, I'm going to switch my mics. But unfortunately, my second microphone I'm going to probably switch to be as good as this one. Let's see if this works. Okay, so I'm going to see if this new mic will work. If not, I have to switch one more time. Okay, so again, it gets you access to what you need, lets you pay over time, and also you're basically able to build business credit at the same time. So there's multiple ways you can use these vendor accounts. Again, as we talked about yesterday, you're able to come. Sound is gone. Okay, so is it here? I hear you now. All right, I'm working on it. It tells me when my sound is going in and out. Brand new computer I'm working from today. So I'm having all kinds of glitches that I don't normally experience. So power through. It's telling me when my mic isn't working, and I think a switch to this next mic should fix the problem. If not, I'll switch one more time. So multiple ways to use vendor accounts. You can get them with no personal guarantee that report to the credit bureaus. Perfect for building business credit. You can get no personal guarantee vendor accounts that don't report. 97% of trade vendors are this way. You can get a personal guarantee or not, but they don't report to the business credit reporting agencies. You can, and that increases your buying power, but doesn't help you build business credit. And you can also get ones with a personal guarantee that report to the bureaus, which builds gets better terms and also helps you build business credit. And you can also get with a personal guarantee that don't report, which gives you better terms and limits, but again, doesn't help you through the process of building business credit. So again, a lot of scenarios here. The question you want to decide is, do you want to give a personal guarantee or not? Okay, because as you'll learn today, there are vendors that you can get away with having a personal guarantee if you wait to get them later into the business credit building process. And this is a deep dive in business credit that we don't typically do when we look at all these different scenarios. But you can absolutely provide a personal guarantee with starter vendors and get credit that you couldn't get till further in the process if you don't want a guarantee. Or you could choose to not get that credit later and get away from the guarantee. There's 97% of trade vendors out there don't report the credit to the business credit reporting agency. So if you just want to get credit lines to buy products and services and you don't care if you're building business credit, there's a lot of vendors out there that offer credit in their stores to buy their products and services. Or maybe you want it for business credit building. In that case, you don't want a personal guarantee, and you also want to make sure that you get accounts that actually report. So just keep in mind, you have options here when building your business credit. And if you're tuning in today, if you don't mind, tell me where you're from. I always like to give a shout out to everybody when I know the city and state that you're from. Plus, it reminds me of the places I've been and the places I still need to go and visit as well. So make sure you say hi. So building business credit with vendor accounts. Well, leverage the 4 vendors we discussed today, and you're going to be able to start building initial business credit. You could build this portfolio strong, and then after a few of these report as payment experiences, then you're able to start moving on and start getting other kind of credit. So remember, you need at least 3, I recommend 5 payment experiences to move on to the next tier of business credit building. And what I mean by that is a payment experience is the reporting of an account to a business credit reporting agency. So for example, if I come in and I get in a credit account that reports to Dun & Bradstreet and Experian, then what that means is it means I actually have 2 payment experiences. So one of the ways that you can expedite business credit building is to get credit with vendors or starter vendors that actually report to the business credit reporting agencies and report to multiple of them. Because if I get an account here that reports to 2 business credit reporting agencies or 3, that gives me 2 or 3 payment experiences, not just 1. So here, let me give you an example. If we look at Uline here, and I'll show you how our clients are building business credit. Okay, our clients build business credit through a system called the Business Finance Suite. You're looking at it now. And we say where everything reports to and the underwriting requirements and what it takes to get approved. But you can see here that this account here with Uline reports to D&B and Experian. So why that helps is it means you get 2 payment experiences. So by getting accounts that report to 2 or 3 reporting agencies, you're getting 2 to 3 payment experiences from each account, and this expedites the process of building business credit. It's how we help our clients go from 3 years of this process down to 6 months. Because we get them accounts that report to 2 or 3 reporting agencies, that builds their business credit profiles faster with all the reporting agencies, and also then helps them move on to the next step or the next tier of credit even faster than what they were. Okay, so again, you want to try to start with accounts that report to the business credit reporting agencies with no personal guarantee. These are really the best accounts that you're actually going to get. And Mississippi, thanks for coming in. New Jersey, Mississippi. I got 2 Mississippis in that. Nope, Rosalind, you just said that twice. Okay, hey, Carlos from Michigan, thanks for tuning in. And Vijay, I can never pronounce your name correctly. Hello from Florida. Tell me where you are from Florida. I'm in Tampa, so maybe we're neighbors. Okay, so you can't build the perfect business credit profile without business credit accounts. You can't do it without vendor accounts. So let's talk about it. Business credit, remember, when we talk about this, is independent of your personal credit. Credit profile for your business, credit profile for you personally. Okay, this one you're liable for, all the personal stuff. This one, if you do it right, you're not. which means if the business defaults on credit, if the business goes out of business, if something crazy unexpected happens and you default on debt, they can't come after your personal assets when you build a credit profile separately. So it separates your personal and your business liability. The other thing is that we can separate our uses of credit here. So personal credit reports, these are used for mortgages and car loans and credit cards and all the stuff we use to manage our personal life. But the business credit profile and score, this is used for business credit cards. It's used for commercial mortgages. It's used for loans and credit lines for the business. It's used for credit cards for the business. It's used for automobiles for the business. And when you separate these two and you build the business the right way, the personal really isn't needed as much. The business can stand on its own and credit issuers can start pulling this report, and you can get most credit cards at all kinds of vendors, all kinds of retailers. You can get Visa cards, MasterCards, auto financing, computer leases, all without a personal guarantee. It really allows your business to fund itself. It's why SCORE, Inc., SBA, it's why they all recommend business credit, is because of this separation between personal and commercial credit. Now, Austin, the other benefit is oftentimes, in almost all cases, applying isn't going to impact your personal credit report. Okay, so the personal credit report, you got to really protect your inquiries. And I am anal about this. So when I buy a car, I find my lender, and then I only let them pull my credit once. Because if I go to a dealership pulls, and I'll give you a real world example. I literally am in the process right now of buying a car. And so I talked to the sales guy. I said, connect me to your finance manager. I need to make sure he can do what I need him to do. And so the first thing I said is, listen, I don't want inquiries on my credit. What I want you to do is I want you to pull it, and I want you to send it to one lender, and that one lender buys the deal. That's it. That's what I want. Can you do that for me? He hesitated, which I always know is not a good thing. There's a delay, and he goes, yeah, I could do that. I can send that to one lender, but I can't say that that's in your best interest, so that's the one that's going to give you the best deal. So I said, no problem. Okay, I appreciate you looking out for me. Hung up the phone, moved on to the next car. That dude just lost his dealership, the car. And I'll tell you why. Because he didn't have faith. And I told him as I wrapped up the call, I said, I'm looking for a finance manager that is so good at what they do that they can look at a credit profile, look at the car, know who's a good fit, and go get the deal done. Okay, without shotgunning it to everybody and waiting to see which approval is best. That's what I want. Because I spent 20 years. I've spent 20 plus years in funding. I understand how it works. And I owned a mortgage company. I was in auto financing. I can look at a deal, look at credit, look at the vehicle and go, oh yeah, Ally Bank, by far the best with this one. Chase Bank, by far the best with this one. I know. So if you're good at what you do, you know the right bank to place the deal. If you don't, you got to send applications out everywhere and let the lenders decide based on the approvals they send back who's the best one. It's a difference between somebody who's very skilled at their craft and somebody that's not. So that's a real world example. I protect my personal credit because inquiries are so important. With Credit Line Hybrid and other programs, one inquiry on your credit report can cost you $25,000 in funding. Because what happens here is that when a bank issuing a loan, credit line, or credit card sees other banks you're applying for, their fear is that you're going out here and getting credit with other banks, then you're coming to them and getting it with them as well. That's what they fear. So when they see recent inquiries on your credit report from other credit card issuers, lenders, or banks, then I guarantee the approval amounts are significantly less as a result. So you and I have to protect our personal inquiries like they're gold. I've learned in decades of being in funding that this is one of the most valuable assets you actually protect. So how do you protect your personal credit? It's simple. You don't let them use the personal credit for inquiries if it's not essential. So if I'm getting a credit card for my business, an Amazon credit card, a Walmart credit card, a gas card, a Staples credit card, a Visa card, a MasterCard, nobody needs to look at my personal credit. My business credit quality alone can get me all of that. It can get me computer leases. It can get me auto financing. I know that if I want a $500,000 credit line, they're going to look at my personal credit. So I know there's some kind of funding that's going to be looked at. A lot of it, they're not. So with building business credit, you can get away from credit inquiries whenever you need a store credit card, a regular credit card, auto financing, computer leases. You don't have to give inquiries anymore. So it protects your personal credit. And you're getting credit that reports to the business credit reporting agencies if you choose that option. Business reporting, not personal. And so what that does is it doesn't affect my utilization on my personal credit report. Remember, there's 5 components to your FICO score. 30% of your FICO score is utilization, a third of your overall score. So think about the math of this. 35% of your score is how you pay your bills. 30% is your utilization. What percentage of your high credit limit you're using? 35 and 30. So what FICO is telling us is FICO is saying, keeping balances low on our credit card is mathematically almost equally as important as paying our bills on time. That's how big of a deal it is. It's not my opinion. It's just math. That's why I love finance. I'm a math guy. 35% of your score's payment history, 30% utilization. Very similar. So again, what happens here is utilization is so important that you need to keep any credit you're using for your business off your personal reports. If you don't, you will crush your consumer credit scores. Then the only way you get out of the consumer credit scores being crushed is to get money to pay off those balances. But you can't get money to pay off the balances because now your consumer credit scores are low. So your ability to get consumer or commercial credit financing is less because you ruined your credit. Don't do it. The way to do it is build business credit. Now you're not impacting your personal credit scores because, again, you don't have inquiries on there and your utilization is all happening on your business reports, not on your personal. Okay, so again, unless there's a personal guarantee and then and as well as reporting to the business reporting agencies, if you also make sure that you get them without a personal guarantee, then it helps keep you safe and your personal assets safe. So it's how to build trust with lenders and credit issuers as well, because you're building a reputation for paying your bills on time. And you can get approved for credit cards without personal guarantees. But again, that's a process of building business credit. It also helps you get access to higher rates, better terms on financing as well, and improves the overall value of your business. So a lot of reasons you want to build business credit here. I know, Rosalind, my mic went out again. I know, but I did turn it back on when it did. So hopefully you didn't lose me there for very long. And again, I will figure out these mic issues. It's just a new computer. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Okay, so the business credit report is independent of your personal. We talked about that. Applying often is not going to affect your personal credit if you apply for the right credit and you do this the right way, unless there's a personal guarantee, of course, and you fail to pay. Then they're going to come after your personal assets. I am a victim of that, right? I've literally had my bank accounts cleaned out by a business lender because I defaulted on a business credit line that I personal guaranteed. I know what that's like. Literally, they came and took all the money out of my bank account. They waited till it was at its highest point. Then they just, all the money was gone. So we got to protect that. We got to make sure that doesn't happen. We do that by not giving that actual personal guarantee. It's very important. Okay. And you can get approved for credit cards again with better rates, terms, a lot of benefits here. So business credit doesn't just happen though. Just because you have an EIN doesn't mean it's going to actually get built. You have to be very intentional. And this is where starter vendors come in. And the reason for that is that 97% of trade vendors don't report to the credit reporting agencies, 97%. So most vendors that will give us credit don't report the credit to the business reporting agency. So we got to be intentional with what we're doing here, okay? Now, the principles are pretty straightforward for doing this. We want to get approved with a vendor account. We want to use the credit. Now, I say spend at least $50, but here's the reality. That's not applicable with most vendors. Now, in our system, we actually say the ones that it is or it isn't, okay? I mean, we have a whole data team where all they do is do this research for us. And then they tell us, hey, they require a $100 deposit. They don't. They require a $50 deposit. They don't. So our clients actually know how much to spend with each vendor. But if you don't have that information, you got to do two things. One of two things. You either need to ask the vendor, you need to contact them directly and say, how much do I need to spend to get it to report? Or the second thing is you have to just spend at least $50 to have the best chance of getting it reported. It doesn't matter to me. If you want to spend the $50 and buy stuff $50 or more, if you don't and you want to call them and ask them, it's up to you. But you've got to know, because some of them, like Uline, Quill, want you to spend a certain amount of money. And if you don't, then they're not going to report the credit. They treat it as a cash transaction. They don't even report the credit. Okay. And you need to make sure you get credit with vendors that do report, and that way you can get enough credit on your credit reports to move on to the next tier. Now, you don't start with high limits or credit cards without a personal guarantee. It's not the way it starts, right? We understand that. You and I, we built our personal credit, and we did it with secure credit cards. We did it with small limit credit cards. If you're blessed like I am, to have parents like I do, then I got a cosigner. I was in the military. My dad co-signed for me for a truck. It's how I got my credit off the ground. So I didn't start building my credit with $10,000 limit credit cards. Like, that's not how you started. That's not how I started. We start with smaller limits. Now, here's the good news. Smaller limits in my world, in the business world, $2,000, $3,000. So you're going to start with vendor accounts, usually $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. You're not going to get $10,000 limits right away. but you are going to start with $500 to $3,000 limit accounts because you got to build trust. You don't have no credit profile. You have no credit score. By doing this, you start building a credit profile and score, and then that's what makes it easier to build off of to start getting money. And Heather says, looking at starting an aviation-related small business. I love that. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a pilot. That's what I do for fun. Any implications for business credit, small business adversely impacting airline career? Nope, not at all. Not any implication of business credit, small business. No, it doesn't. I mean, business credit isn't adversely affect anybody. Think of it like this, like having a good consumer credit profile isn't going to hurt you. There's nothing at all in this world that can help you of having a good consumer credit profile, but having a damaged one can hurt. Same thing in the business world. Having established business credit only helps you, because lenders, credit issuers, suppliers, insurance companies, law enforcement, they're all looking at these credit reports to make all kinds of decisions about you. So whether it's insurance or loans that you want, all of this is going to help you, Heather. It won't work adversely against you. So you got to start with these starter vendors first. Then you've got to use them responsibly and pay on time. And then that unlocks more credit, higher limits without the personal guarantee. Look, paying on time is important because remember I said there was 5 components to the consumer FICO score. There's only one mainly in the commercial world. Equifax and D&B, their credit scores are only based on one factor, how you pay your bills. Experian has many factors, but 85% of their scores, how you pay your bills. So in the business world, you've got to pay your bills on time or early. Very important. In the consumer world, you have to be 30 days late for them to report you late to the credit bureaus. In the business world, we call it DBT, days beyond terms. If you're 1 day beyond terms when you're supposed to pay, you are late and you are counted late. 1 day late, 5 days late, 10 days, 30 days, 120 days late. How late you are depends on how much damage you do to your credit scores. So that one thing is the only one thing you have to control, which means you got to pay your bills on time, preferably even early. If you do that one thing, you're going to have a good score. And a lot of the interest rates you pay on loans, credit lines, and credit cards are all based on the actual quality of your credit score. So if you're just getting here, tell us where you're from. We like to hear the city, state that you're from so we can give you a shout out and ask questions along the way. I want to make sure that they're answered. Okay, so again, not all retailers are going to approve you just because you have a credit profile and score. Okay, some vendors have a time and business requirement. Some have a revenue requirement. But in my world, I've seen you can get around all of it with a volume of payment experiences. So what I'm saying is that if I go to Staples right now and I go to their commercial credit card application, it says, you got to be in business 3 years or have 1 million in revenue to get approved. But if I've been in business 5 months and have 50,000 in revenue, and I go apply for that credit card with 17 accounts on my business credit reports, I'm going to get approved. So what I'm saying is that even when they tell you there are time and business or revenue requirements, you absolutely 100% can get around that just because you have enough payment experiences reporting on your credit reports. If you have a credit report that shows a history with D&B, Equifax, Experian, if you're paying your bills and a bunch of payment experiences, they're going to approve you even if they have these requirements. Okay, some things to keep in mind. Now, you also need to keep in mind that when I say you need 5 accounts to move to tier 2 or 7 accounts to move to tier 3, then here's the deal. So for example, I'm going to tell you today that if you have 5 payment experiences, you can move from starter vendors to regular vendors, Amazon, Walmart. But here's the catch. The catch is that that's not always the case. Meaning that all retailers don't just approve you with 5 accounts. Some require 6, some require 7, some require 8. Here, I'll show you what I mean. And I show you this because we've helped 50,000 business owners through this process. So it's not theoretical of what I'm telling you. This is actually how the system works by looking at all 50,000 results cumulative, right? Not just this is what happened when I tried to build my own. So if I look at tier 2 credit here, what I see is I see that after I built my initial vendor credit in tier 1, then in tier 2, I can start to get approved with, some of these other sources that may actually approve me. And then in tier 3, and I'll actually pull this up and show you some of the specifics. So in tier 2 here, I can get approved for some revolving retail credit, but others won't approve me until I have 6 accounts reporting or 8 accounts reporting or 10 accounts reporting. So all these credit issuers will have different times or these are all kind of tiered based on how much credit you actually have. So you might be able to get these with 3 accounts on your business credit report, but you can't get Apple until you have 8, for example. Okay, so this is very important. When I say that you can start to move to the next step, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can move to the next step. It just means that some sources, some retailers will start to approve you. So for example here, if I have 6 accounts, 6 payment experiences, well, I can get approved for all these sources, right? I can get approved for Quill and Meijer and Office Depot and Home Depot, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that I can get approved for Apple. It just means that I need 6 accounts reporting to get to this tier of credit. But again, I need even more accounts on my business credit reports to get to other credit issuers. So example, as I gave you Home Depot, you only need 6 accounts. But as you can see here, in order to get to Speedway, well, then I need more than 6 accounts. So, in this case, I need 10 trade lines. So when I say that you can start to get to retail credit with retailers, the problem is that doesn't mean all retailers fit the bill. What it means is it means some of them, like in this case, Sinclair or BP or Lands' End or Tractor Supply, want 10 accounts on my business credit reports, while others only 6, like we looked at Home Depot. So keep that in mind as you're building business credit, because what happens is there's some sources that will approve you with 5 payment experiences, others need 10, others need 14. Now, of course, not to self-promote, but if you want to expedite this, it's why working with us helps you through this process. Because you don't apply for Lands' End and get denied to realize you didn't have enough accounts. We tell you, whoa, don't go to Lands' End until you have 10 payment experiences. Then when you have 10 payment experiences, our system lights that option up and says, okay, you're good now. You can apply and get approved. That way our clients are only applying for what they know they'll get approved for. Now, if you're not doing that, that's okay. If you're not working with us, that's all right. Just keep in mind, it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of applying and getting denied to know how many payment experiences each source may need. Just keep in mind that you need at least 5 to get to the next step, but oftentimes it could take even more than 5 in order to get to the right kind of retailer. You just need to keep building business credit. So a lot of starter vendors will approve you again without those requirements of time in business or revenue. You just need to make up for it with payment experiences. I'm literally going to disappear for 15 seconds.
Come on, let's go. All right.
The dog's scratching at the door, and she's not going to stop scratching until I let her in. So now she's in here chilling with me, and she's happy. Okay, so you're not going to get Visa, MasterCards right away. You need to have good business credit depth first. You need to make sure that you have enough payment experience, which is typically 14 in order to get to that point. And then you need to build your credit limits up to get to that point as well. So in order to get to a point where you actually can get a Visa card, MasterCard, you need about 14 accounts on your business credit reports, and one of those needs to have a $10,000 high limit. Now, this is, again, where a lot of other people make mistakes when building business credit. Everybody wants, and I don't even understand this. I really don't. And somebody's going to have to tell me why everybody does this, because I really don't understand. Everybody tries to build business credit just to get to a Visa card and a MasterCard, the end result. So they'll come get the minimum vendors they need. They'll spend the minimum amount of money. Then they go to retail credit. Then they go get the minimum amount of retail credit they can get. Amazon, Walmart. Then they spend the minimum amount of money. Then they just try to move to the next step. But here's the thing. 95% of what we need to buy in a business, we can buy at places like Amazon, Walmart, Tractor Supply. All these retailers, they sell it. Then that leaves very little money that we actually need a Visa or MasterCard for, maybe payroll, maybe some marketing, but everything else we can cover using these other vendors. So the reason I tell you this is that I get people that come and say, I have 14 accounts, but I don't have a $10,000 high limit. And I'm saying, yeah, because you're not using the credit you're getting. That's never going to fly. Credit issuers, in order to give you a $20,000 Visa card, want to see that you're actually spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 somewhere else. If they look at your credit report and all it shows is that you bought less than $100 worth of stuff, why would anybody approve you for a $20,000 credit card if you're only spending less than $100 on the credit card? So the reason I tell you that is you got to use the credit you're given. If you're not using the credit you're given and buying stuff you really need to use to grow your business, the amount you're spending is never going to be high. And the problem with that is the future limits you get on other accounts are never going to be high as well. And here, I'm going to show this on an actual business credit report so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So you've got to get credit you're really going to use. Then you've got to really use that credit to build your business credit profile and score. And by doing that, That is what's going to get you future higher and higher and higher limits. So here, I'm going to give you an example. This is what accounts look like when they're reported on your business credit report. Now you can see that we don't have limits here. We have recent amount of credit we've used. So the credit bureaus are saying, here's the recent amount of credit we've used. Well, here, I can see that this person spent less than $100. They spent $100 here. They spent $300 here. So the problem is it's really hard to get high limits on future credit card approvals when you're only spending a little bit of money here and there on the accounts you're given. Should this person be given a $20,000 credit card when the most they've spent recently is $300? If a credit issuer looks at this and says, okay, the recent amount they spent is $300, so giving them a $1,000 limit should be good. That's more than 3 times the amount that they normally spend. That's the way these computers work from credit issuers. So you got to be careful. You got to get credit with credit issuers you're actually going to use. If you don't do that, then what happens is your limits never get high. But if you use credit you're actually getting, if you're actually using the credit that you're given, then what happens is your recommendations of credit also go up. And on top of your recommendations go for credit going up, then what happens? These usually issue terms like net 15, net 30, net 55, etc. And so then as a result of that, you're able to come in, you're able to get approved for business credit again, and get your payments extended over on terms. So if I have a net 30 account, for example, then what that means is it means that if I buy $1,000 worth of stuff on a Uline account, I have 30 days to pay that $1,000 back in its entirety. It's not a secured credit card. It's not a revolving credit card. I've got this much time to pay it back in its entirety. Okay, so again, that's what a net account is, and that's what these starter vendors will give you. Okay, so net account, net 30 gets paid in 30 days, net 60 gets paid in full in 60 days. You kind of get the idea, right? So to start your business credit profile the right way, you need to get approved for vendors that report to the business credit reporting agencies. Once that's done, you can use the credit, pay it back, and it starts to report. Now, Equifax and Experian will create a credit profile and score for you if they even have one account reported to them. Dun & Bradstreet won't unless you have 3. One of the most common questions I get is, hey, why won't Dun & Bradstreet report my credit? And my answer is that, well, they will, but you have to have your DUNS number and 3 accounts that report to them. If you don't have 3 accounts that report to them, you'll never see a credit report established. So keep in mind that you get 1 account with D&B or Equifax Experian, you'll see a credit report. But if you see 3 accounts with Dun & Bradstreet, it's going to take that many in order to establish a credit report and score it with Dun & Bradstreet. So once reported, then you'll have what's called trade lines on your credit reports. Then you have an established credit profile. Then you have an established credit score. Then that's linked to your EIN, and you can start to use that to go in and get more credit. So this is what this process looks like. Fundability, you make your business fundable. We talked about a lot of that when we talked about building a general business credit profile. Now we start to get credit with starter vendors that report to the business credit reporting agencies. Then we have what I call the trifecta. We've got trade lines, them reporting the account. That creates a credit profile. Then I have a credit score. And with those 3 things, now I have a basic foundation. Lenders and credit issuers can look up my credit profile, link to my EIN, and that will help me get approved for financing. And it can be used alone and that alone only. Revenue doesn't matter. Credit doesn't matter. Collateral doesn't matter to get all kinds of other credit. Now I have a foundation that I'm actually using to build off of. Melissa, thanks for coming in from Patterson, New Jersey. Hope life's going well up there. And thanks for tuning in with us today. Okay, so for vendor credit, you can usually leave your social security number off the application. So when I'm applying for starter vendors, they don't usually even ask for my social. They don't. And the ones I'm going to show you today, they're not even going to ask for your social. You don't even need to supply it because the credit is not being issued from a major bank. They're not required to verify your identity. And they're just giving you credit to buy stuff at their stores. They don't even care about personal guarantees. Okay, so because the credit isn't offered to a bank, they don't have to. This is credit that's linked to your EIN. Again, they're going to ask for an EIN, but they're not even going to typically ask for a social. Keep in mind, credit through a bank will require it. So in 2018, June, the IRS passed a law that required banks to verify the identity of anybody opening a new account. So if I go get a Staples credit card, Staples isn't underwriting their credit card, Citibank is. Well, Citibank, it's a bank. The bank is required to verify my identity. So Staples is going to ask for my social to verify who I am, that I'm actually a real human. I'm not laundering money through the entity. Okay. And then Citi can issue me that credit card. But vendors aren't issued by banks. So vendors are not going to ask for the social, although you will be asked for the social later on in the process. You just have to be careful not to authorize personal guarantee or credit checks. So vendor credit is an important step in building business credit because it's the only type of credit you can get without a business credit history. Okay, I can't go into Staples and get a credit card without a personal guarantee and credit check when I have no credit history. They're going to look at my credit and they're going to say, nothing's there. You need to provide a personal guarantee. You're denied until you provide that. Now, if I go to Staples with 17 accounts on my business credit reports, then they'll give me a credit card without the personal guarantee. But I don't have a credit report. I don't have a credit score for my business. So I can't start with Staples, Office Depot, Lowe's, Home Depot, Citgo, whatever. I can't start with those guys because they're going to look for a business credit history that I don't have. So you got to build that business credit portfolio with Fundability and starter vendors first. Then I can start to get that other kind of credit. Now, again, this isn't some system I made up. Okay. And that's the other thing. People sometimes are skeptical about business credit. It's very important to understand Dun & Bradstreet has been around, the biggest business credit reporting agency. They've been around way before consumer credit existed. TransUnion, Equifax, Spring, they weren't even on the scene when Dun & Bradstreet got here. So commercial credit has been around way before consumer credit ever showed up on the scene. Also keep in mind, Dun & Bradstreet has had 5 U.S. presidents work for him. 5. No company in this world has had 5 U.S. presidents work for them except for Dun & Bradstreet. So I'm telling you this because they're a very credible, very long-standing company. All I'm doing today is saying, hey, look, we've looked at the biggest privately and publicly owned companies in this world. Especially in the United States that are housed in the United States. We've also helped 50,000 through this process. Here's the process that works, right? So this is what actually works for the biggest companies to have got where they are using business credit. And we've also seen startups follow the exact same process to get to success as well. So this is the proven path to success. Now you've got to have at least 5 payment experiences, 3 accounts or more in order to move on to the next tier. We talked about that. That doesn't mean all sources in the next tier will approve you, but some sources will start to approve you. Give yourself about 60 days for these accounts to report. Some report monthly, some report quarterly. If you want to ask the underwriter, do so. If I show you our finance suite says that. We say how often things report because we don't want our clients to have to look for the information. They look in the account and know that. If you want to know that, you have to actually talk to an underwriter at the source you're applying for, and don't apply for the next tier of credit until you have the ones that you need in this tier. Now, as I mentioned, okay, they're not going to ask for the social security number because these are vendors not issued by the big bank. So let's talk about some of the sources we're going to dive into with starter vendors today. Some of my favorites are on here that we're going to dive into, and I want to talk through them one by one and tell you everything you need. So Grainger is one of my favorite business credit building accounts because they've been doing this a long time. And if you have a business license, they will give you a $2,500 credit line just because you have a business license. Now, you don't need a license to operate in most businesses, but you can oftentimes get one. You can get one in your state. You can get one in your city. You can get one in your county. You can get one for your industry. So I found in lending 20 plus years that if you have a license and you supply it when you put applications in for loans and credit, it just helps you. Like lenders and credit issuers look at you more legitimately and credible if you have a business license. So if you can get one, get one. Here, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. If I go right here, I'm in Pasco County, Florida. Pasco County, right? So if I go to Pasco, okay, County, and I go business license, okay, business license, and I hit enter. Google says, here we go. This is known as a business tax receipt. Okay, this is used to be known as an occupational license. It's a license I can get here in my county in Pasco County. I don't have to have it, but I can get it. So by getting this license, which is very cheap and easy to get, then what's going to happen is that's actually going to make it easier for me to come in and get about a $2,500 credit line with Grainger just because I supply a business license. They love it when you have business licenses. Okay, so now they do all kinds of stuff. They have fleet maintenance. They sell hardware, power tools, pumps, more. People like me that work in an office sometimes look at Grainger and say they don't sell anything I need, but I buy batteries and I buy first aid kits from them. When I'm starting to build the business credit profile, Grainger is one of the ones I start with immediately, and I personally load up on first aid kits and batteries. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying that I sometimes hear people whine. Yes, I'm telling you, you're whining that, hey, now I got to buy some stuff I don't want or need. Yeah, I don't care. It's a small sacrifice. You're talking about getting $20, $30, $40, $50,000 limit credit limits for your business without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check, without needing to verify revenue, without needing collateral, right? Without needing cash flow. All you have to do to get there is to get some credit with vendors that maybe buy some stuff you wouldn't normally buy or stuff you wouldn't normally buy from them to move to the next tier. Minute little sacrifice to get massive reward. So they do sell stuff absolutely that you could use and probably need now. You just need to think about it. And like I said, with Grainger, I work in an office. I don't do outdoor stuff or outdoor work. So I'm like, what do I buy here? I buy first aid kits, batteries. There's all kinds of stuff you can find there that you want and need. Okay, they report to Dun & Bradstreet. And again, if a business doesn't have established business credit, they may ask you for additional documents. But again, if you have a license, it's one of the easiest ways to get around this. So when these starter vendors come up, it's very important that you built out your fundability. And I talk about fundability a lot. If you look at fundability on YouTube, you'll find all kinds of training on this. If you've done your fundability the right way as I teach, you've already got all this stuff. Every starter vendor I'm going to show you today, every one of them, you've already met the requirement if you've done what I advise you to do in fundability. But let's look at Grainger's approval requirements. You need to have an entity in good stand. If it's active, it's not like suspended entity. You have to have an EIN number with the IRS. You need a business address that matches everywhere. You need a DUNS number, a business license, a business bank account set up. And they're not going to ask you for your bank statements. They're going to ask you for a bank reference. And you have to be with the Secretary of State. Your business had to have been open at least 60 days. Okay. If you've done this, then you should meet the criteria and qualify, okay, to be able to get approved for a possibly $2,500 account with Grainger, especially if you have a business license. Now, Uline is my favorite starter vendor. They sell shipping supplies, industrial supplies. They report to D&B and Experience, 2 payment experiences. But you must create an account online before starting with them. You really need to do it with all these sources. So the steps here is that you go to their website, you set up an account, okay, then you go find stuff you want, you put it in your shopping cart, then you go to checkout, make sure you're logged in, you select an option similar to Invoice Me. They're all called something a little different, pretty similar. Then if they tell you they shipped the items, you were approved. There is no celebration. There's no credit card you get in the mail. They never tell you the credit limit you're given. Okay, none of them. Grainger, Uline, it doesn't happen. If I go to Grainger, I set up an account online, go put stuff in my shopping cart, and then I go to checkout. Grainger says, hey, okay, how do you want to pay? I say, invoice me. Grainger says, okay, and I complete the checkout process. If Grainger then sends me an email and says, hey, we shipped your items, that means I was approved for a credit line. They don't send me an email and say, congratulations, you're approved for a credit line. Here's how much it is. They don't send me anything in the mail telling me I got a credit line. There's no credit card I physically get. The shipping of my items tells me I was approved. Now, I can call Grainger and I can say, hey, I saw that I just ordered some stuff and got a credit line. How much is my credit line? And they'll tell me, but there's no celebration with any of these vendors. There's no formal approvals. With the shipping of our items without us giving them money is proof that they gave us a credit line. There's nothing else that you're going to get that shows you that unless you call them to ask them how much they gave you. Terms are net 30, okay? And again, you want to create an account. I walk you through the steps with them before you actually get set up. Requirements are very similar with all starter vendors. Entity in good standing, EIN number, business address that matches everywhere online and offline records, DUNS number, business license, business bank, if applicable. If you need a business license, you have one. Business phone number listed with 411. Didn't mention that before. Very important here. And if you do have a paid access score established, it's going to be a little bit easier to get approved unless you built your fundability out the right way. Now, Marathon Petroleum Company, right? We understand who they are. They sell gas, fuel, like they have maintenance shops for repair, maintenance of vehicles, stuff like that as well. Okay, they report to DB and Experience, so 2 payment experiences with Marathon that we're able to get approved for. You got to be careful not to apply for too many fleet credit cards at the same time. A fleet credit card is a Marathon, it's a Sunoco, it's a Conoco, it's a Papa. They're fuel stations. Like if you get a fleet card or a fuel station card, then if you get too many of those, like if you apply for 2 or 3 and within a day, they're going to flag you because they're all underwritten by the same company. So don't apply for too many of these gas cards at the same time. It's going to create problems for you. Always space them out a week, 2 weeks before applying for another gas card. To qualify, entity in good standing, EIN, business address matching everywhere, DUNS number, business license if applicable, business bank reference, phone number listed with 411. Remember, if you follow my fundability step, you already meet all these requirements. Okay, that's why I talk about fundability. Fundability is we look at all the credit issuers approval standards, all of them. And then we say, okay, if you just met all this criteria, you would apply, you could get approved for this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So that's what fundability ultimately is. Fundability is just looking at these underwriting requirements. So if I look at any of these accounts, if I looked at Tractor Supply or Lands In here or Shell, and I see what gets approved, this is what we do. We have a data team that just looks at every single source. We have relationships with the underwriter, and every day we're going through and verifying the information. So our clients always know exactly what it takes to get approved. So if we look at this, you can see that this is all fundability. Like if you've done fundability, you've already met this criteria. You can already get approved if you have enough accounts on your business credit reports for Tractor Supply. If you want to get approved for Shell and you've followed my advice and my training on fundability, then you already meet all these requirements. Every one of these things is things I talk about with fundability. And there's a reason I talk about fundability as much as I do, because again, we go to all these credit issuers. We say, what does it take to get approved? What's your actual requirement? Very hard to do. Okay. But we get the relationships built and we do it. And then we say, okay, here's one massive list of everything you have to do. If you met all this criteria, credit issuers will start spitting out approvals. That's what fundability is. It's that criteria you got to meet for their computers to start spitting out automated approvals. If you've done fundability, then you've already met this requirements. You get approved for a Marathon gas card. Now, keep in mind that they're underwritten by a bank. So they're going to ask you for a social for identification purposes only. If you don't want a credit check, if you don't want a guarantee, you need to tell them that. Now, some fleet cards are different. When I go through the fleet card process, it tells me, it says, hey, I'm asking for the social only to verify your identity. We're not doing anything else with it. Those I'm comfortable. I go through the application process. I'm good. If they ask for my social and they don't clearly tell me it's only for identification, I usually fax the approval or I call, do it by phone. And I tell them I'm not authorizing a personal guarantee. I'm not authorizing a credit check. If you don't do that, sometimes they will, in their terms and conditions, sneak in that they're doing a credit check and they'll do a credit check. You don't want them to do that. So again, if they don't ask for your social like starter vendors, doesn't matter. A lot of the starter vendors don't ask for the social, no big deal. They ask for the actual social, then you need to keep in mind that in that case, they could do a personal credit check and guarantee. Make sure that they clearly tell you they're not, or you need to clearly tell them you're not authorizing it. Now, Marathon, Wex Fleet, these fuel cards are very different. First of all, if you want a personal guarantee, then you don't mind it, then apply for them right away as a starter vendor. If I'm a truck driver, I'm going to probably come in and get whatever one I use the most, Conoco, Wex Fleet, Marathon, whatever gas station I'm hitting the most. I'm going to go get that gas card right away. I'm going to pay $500 deposit. I'm going to provide a personal guarantee. If I get a gas card this early in the process as a starter vendor, I will almost always be asked for one or both of a $500 deposit and a personal guarantee. One or both, almost always. If I don't want to put a deposit down, if I don't want to put a personal guarantee down, I need to wait to get Marathon until I have 8 accounts, 8 payment experiences on my business credit reports. So if you go to Marathon and say, I don't want to give a deposit, I don't want to give a guarantee, then don't apply and use it as a starter vendor. Apply when you have 8 accounts. That'll get you around the personal guarantee. It'll get you around the $500 deposit. Now, sometimes I see, people have 4 accounts or 5 accounts and they're not asked for the deposit anymore, but they are asked for a guarantee, or they are asked for the deposit, but not the guarantee. But just keep in mind, 8 is your safe zone with them where you're actually able to come in and get approved, where you don't have the personal guarantee and you don't actually have the deposit either. Okay. Supply Works. They're actually now owned by Home Depot. They used to be called Home Depot Pro. Okay. They offer facility maintenance, supplies, all kinds of outdoor stuff. They report to Experian. Okay. They give net 30 terms. You can apply online or over the phone. And in order to get approved, they're going to ask for an entity in good standing, EIN, business address that matches everywhere, DUNS number. They're also going to ask for a business bank reference, a business license if you have one. And they're going to ask for trade and bank references as well. No minimum time in business requirement with them. Home Depot likes you to be in business 1 year if you don't have a bunch of payment experiences. So Supply Works I love as well. Supply Works and Grainger, really good. If you're doing outdoor, anything kind of outdoor business, this is a great starter vendor to get off the ground. Now, Wex Fleet. I'm going to throw in a bonus. I know I told you 4 today. I have a tendency to under-promise and over-deliver. So let's talk about Wex Fleet. They report to Experian and DMB. Okay, you can use that for repair of vehicles, repair of maintenance of vehicles, fuel cards at most major fuel stations. Okay, again, they're going to ask for, they're going to give you net 15 or net 22 terms. They're going to ask for a personal guarantee and or a deposit if you're using them as a starter vendor. If you want to get around that, you need 8 accounts. 8 payment experiences. You won't need either of those. Okay. In order to get approved, entity in good standing, phone number listed with 411, DUNS number, EIN number, business license, if applicable, business bank account reference. They're going to ask for that as well. If you meet those requirements, well, then you're able to get a Wex Fleet card. Now, notice the 5 I've shown you today have very similar approval requirements because it's all fundability stuff. That's why they're starter vendors. Because if you just make sure your fundability is right, they will approve you. If your fundability is wrong, then you won't get approved. So if you're not getting approved, you did not do what I said with fundability. And if you do it, then they're all going to approve you, even if you have no credit, and they report the credit they give you to the business credit reporting agency. So to recap, starter vendors, a proven way to build initial business credit. They're going to approve you with minimal fuss. You got to make sure that fundability stuff is lined up and check out my other training on fundability. Okay. You also have a lot of options here. Do you want a personal guarantee? Do you not want a personal guarantee? Do you want one that reports? Do you want one that doesn't report? Do you want one that reports to the personal reporting agencies? We saw with Wex Fleet Marathon today. Do you want to provide a deposit or personal guarantee, or do you not want to? Because that means you can use them as a starter vendor if you don't mind that stuff. By the way, you can do that for all credit. If you want to get a Home Depot account right now and you don't mind the personal guarantee, then provide the personal guarantee and get a Home Depot account for your business right now. But if you want to get away from the personal guarantee, that's when you want to build like 6, 8 accounts. Then you can get approved without the personal guarantee. So almost all vendors will approve you with a personal guarantee right from the beginning if you want to use that option to build your business credit. But if you don't, then you just want to wait till more accounts are on your business credit reports. And don't forget that also, if we can help you along the way, let us know. We literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of vendors. I mean, almost every type of account you could look at, from AT&T, from phone services to Platt to Citgo to everything in between. I already scrolled through a lot of these. We have accounts for all of them. So we have hundreds of vendors like this that you can use to build business credit without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. A lot of them report, a lot of them don't. Here's bank credit. You can get actual cash credit, Visa card, MasterCard, Sam's Club type credit. Gas is every major fuel station. You can get credit with Dell. Here's American Express, Ally Financing, Ford, Toyota, all kind of auto financing. Okay, one of our clients got $185,000 at Ford, no personal guarantee, no personal credit check. Okay, from gas stations to banks, all the way to almost every major retailer, they all offer business credit without a personal guarantee and without a credit check. Now, a lot of them don't even report, but they'll still give you credit. So there's auto parts supplies, Meijer grocery store, United Airlines, for example. Okay, here's Chase, more bank credit we have. So again, our system gets you access to more than you're ever going to need when it comes to Visa card, MasterCard, credit at almost every major retailer, from John Deere to Navy Federal Credit Union to Apple and Best Buy. It's all available in our system. So if we can help you along the way, every one of our sources, we say which you can qualify, what you can't. We actually list the underwriting guidelines for every single source, so you know exactly how to get approved. Our clients go through this process step by step, and they also work with our business advisors to help them through this. So our advisors will help you through this entire process to be successful. You can literally just come in and have your choice of almost any credit you want. You'd save 90% on things like business credit monitoring. You can get business valuations here. You can run your own business offering business credit financing through our technology as well. We help you get set up with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian. We help build out your fundability. We get you credit monitoring for only $24 a month versus $250 from the credit bureaus. Okay, we help you fix negative business credit. We help you access loans, credit lines, funding as well. With your own funding team, you literally have a team of processors and finance officers who just help you with getting funding. So if we can help you, make sure you give us a call because we can help you through the process of building business credit and take years off this process. And next time we'll talk about the right and wrong way. Like this font couldn't be bigger, I don't think, to actually get initial trade lines on your business credit reports. We'll talk about shortcuts as well on our next training. And again, if we can ever help you with credit and financing, let us know. And don't forget to register now for funding30challenge.com. At this point, it's 100% free. Funding30challenge.com is where you go. The Funding 30 Challenge is basically an impromptu group that we create. Okay, we have 20 of the world's top funding experts come in and speak to our actual audience and talk about all the funding that's out there. They teach you how to get grants. They teach you how to build business credit. They teach you how to actually get loans, how to actually get credit lines. Again, I wish I could log in and show you the actual Facebook group, but I have a new computer today, so I don't even have access to Facebook. I don't even know what my password is, so I'm not able to do that. So again, this whole group comes together, and the whole mission is just to help each other get funding. Over 20 funding experts. We teach grants. We teach business credit building. I'm not teaching any of it. I'm the MC. So I bring experts smarter than me that teach all the ins and outs. They teach fundability, they teach business credit, grants, angel investors are there, venture capitalists are there, lenders are there, credit lines, loans. And for 1 week, all we do is all these people come in and just help our audience get funding. They actually give you the loans. They give you the credit line approvals. And I can't tell you how much money we got people last time. As a matter of fact, if you go to funding30challenge.com, and you can go to funding30challenge.com. You'll actually see a lot of approvals right there. So if you go to the Funding 30 Challenge, you can actually see a lot of actual real approvals, case studies. You can see all kinds of case studies about success that we've had at the last challenge. You can see actual approvals that people got along the way during the next challenge. You can see all the people that will have talking there, all the funding experts to teach about SBA. And this isn't the same as the one we did in March. Back by popular demand, because Sony asked us to come back and do it. But we brought in new funding sources, new funding programs. So a lot of the stuff that's out there for you right now that a lot of business owners don't even know is available, it's all right here at this Funding 30 Challenge, funding30challenge.com, 100% free to attend this. It's July 19th. So it's in about 2 weeks. We'll have thousands and thousands of people that are participating in the actual group. We'll be giving away cash prizes, about $500 a day we give away in cash prizes. Last one, we gave away a $9,000 bonus at the end. She was awesome. Big contributor through the challenge, and we gave her a $9,000 bonus package at the very end. So we give away over $15,000 worth of stuff during the actual challenge as well. So a really good opportunity. If you're serious about getting money for your business, go to funding30challenge.com. Go ahead and apply to be part of the group. When you go through this and you go register, it just asks you for your basic name, phone number, email, etc. Then you go to the next page. You go ahead and join the Facebook group right there. No cost, boom. Or you can join backstage. And backstage is like our VIP access. Like those are the ones that hang out backstage with the actual funding experts, with the speakers, talk after the fact, get recordings. But that's your option. If you want to take that, take it. If you don't, just go the free route. But the minute you go through this, you can join the Facebook group and immediately start conversing. Everybody's conversing in there now. I just have to get my login set up, and I'll show you that possibly tomorrow. So make sure you get registered at funding30challenge.com. And if you'd like a free consultation, give us a call. During this consultation, we'll do a fundability assessment to help you get your fundability fixed. We'll get your business credit reports for Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian for free. They cost $250 from the bureaus. We get them at no cost. We go through them with you and give you tips and tactics to build your business credit. And we do a funding assessment. We tell you all the loans and credit lines you can get right now. All that happens if you give us a call for a free consultation. It's 100% free. 877-600-2487, 877-600-2487, info@creditsuite.com. You can also schedule online at creditsuite.com as well. Or register online at creditsuite.com/consult as well. And also, don't forget to follow on our other social channels. Tuesday and Thursday at 1, 11 o'clock on Wednesday, all Eastern time. We go live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay. We also have an awesome Facebook group that you're able to find called Get Business Credit. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, daily tips, hundreds of videos, actually thousands. I just looked the other day, we have like 1,500 videos. I can now say thousands of videos on our YouTube channel as well. And a podcast that teaches you, we have experts that come in and teach you every facet of running a business, how to start a business, how to get capital for a business, how to, everything you can think about, how to get into real estate, how to save your money, how to invest, how to be more profitable. All that happens on our podcast called the Business Credit Finance Show, over 500,000 downloads, very popular. All of that you can get to at the top right of our page, creditsuite.com. So make sure you check us out. Follow on the social channels. I think I responded to everybody, but I have a weird thing with comments today. So if I didn't, make sure you give us a call and we'll talk to you to answer any questions you have. And I look forward to seeing you on our next training where we talk about more cool ways to get money to start and grow your business. Do not forget, and Rosalind loves the Facebook group. She says, awesome Facebook group. I'd show you if I could get into Facebook, but I can't get into Facebook right now, but I will tomorrow. Okay, so make sure that you give us a call. Let us know if you have any questions. Don't forget to go to funding30challenge.com right now to get in at $1,000, but it's free for you right now. So go to funding30challenge.com, and I'll see you July 19th for that live event. And I look forward to seeing you on our next training where we talk about more cool ways to get money to start and grow your business. Have a great day.